Okay.
Here's some satisfaction now. You got me here. Here's some satisfaction now. You got me with a bit. Here's some satisfaction now. You got me here. Here's some satisfaction now. You got me in a bit. Oh, you got me here. Here's some satisfaction now. You got me with a bit. Here's some satisfaction now. You got me here. Here's some satisfaction now. You got me with a bit. Some satisfaction.
We're in, brother.
We're in.
It's vibe check live. What's your
That's
day?
amazing. It's funny. I can see myself on the other monitor as well
Yeah,
with
you
a
got
5 second
YouTube
delay.
open. Yeah, it's a little trippy for sure. Let me make sure that I've got it open.
Yeah, I'm
We're
gonna
live right
minimize that
now.
because I don't want to look at myself. All right, I'm gonna focus on the
Yeah,
chats only.
yeah, it's definitely something different. I kind of like shrink it and then like move it to the side so I can just see the chat.
Yeah,
But
I
we'll see.
basically did the half screen and then scroll down.
Yeah. Okay. So this is recorded. We'll see who shows up and who doesn't. But
Okay.
we catted some stuff out. We tweeted some stuff out, and well, we're here for I guess two things maybe. It's just vibe check, so it is what it is.
Yep.
But the two things we were gonna do is one, we're gonna take a look at basket.farm for some like go to markety stuff. But we also we got into a friendly but divisive discussion, I would say.
Yeah.
Is that fair? Is that a fair estimate?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna pull up exactly what you said. And I should have had this ready, but it's been a hectic day. We're doing this all on the fly as we figure stuff out.
It's all good.
It was
I know what
I
you're
think you said
talking about. Let me see if I can find it too.
I remember here it is.
Yep,
The
found it.
exact cast is, and you know what? Let's be fancy. Let's
You want to share screen?
yeah, we'll share the screen.
Go for it.
Yeah, we'll share the screen. So Dan posted, it's pretty deep here. And we're doing pretty good. We're definitely not number one, but if you don't like the make money consumer value prop for Farcaster, what do you think is better? And I said, own your audience, build your own cult, or build your own community, BYOC. I have my justification. We need more stars. Most people are passive. We've minted some. We're not even close to having enough. Dan agreed on this. Had a question about Red Note. I let him know my thoughts on Red Note. And to dial it back, I said, vote for me. This is important because I really fucking hate this narrative. I said, we're winning. We can affect change. And you said, Farcaster has to support and participate in the speculation game. Without that, they might not even make it. And I couldn't disagree more. But it would not be fair for me to not let you make your point at least. So maybe the best way to start with this is like, please elaborate.
Sure. Yeah. So look, I don't think we are disagreeing on the ultimate goal. I think we are disagreeing on in terms of how we get there. So that's the difference. And depending on the stage, there are different games to be played. And that's the direction I'm going towards. So for example, Farcaster needs, and any other social basically needs two people who create content and people who basically like consume content, right? uh Generally speaking, right, I'm super simplifying it. Someone who creates content and the other side and consume content, that based on what I have seen so far, again, I don't have exact data, but I think it's 20-80% rule still applies here. 20% people create the content, sometimes even like less than that. High value content is even like 10% of people, not even more than that. And 80 to 90% people are just the consumers. So that's the divide. And when you said that, when Dan said that, hey, we need to focus on make money as like, and I think he mentioned this roughly 2 3 weeks ago, where make money, make friends, and then something else. I'm like, you know what, this might actually be the right approach to attract that 90% people, because Farcaster has those 10% people. Some of them, they don't, it doesn't have all of it, but it has good enough 10% people, because there are some amazing truth bombs that are dropped to regarding Farcaster, regarding crypto community, regarding everything else, like whether it's culture, environment, politics, whatever it is. But there are not enough people to appreciate it. And how are we gonna get those people in? Well, give people what they want. And here people want to make money in crypto Twitter land. Give them that as a marketing message, let them in, and then present with the case of like, oh yeah, I came for the money, stayed for the tech, stayed for the political view, stayed for entertainment, stayed for friends, whatever it is, but came for the money. So I think that was like, given the market, like if 12 months ago I would have disagreed with that statement, but given the market condition, I think that's the right way to approach it. I don't know if it will remain the same after 12 months. My gut feeling says it will remain there at least around 12 to 18 months. But at least for next 12, 18 months, I think this is the right approach to get that 90% of people.
So I will stand on business. We are disagreeing.
Okay, perfect. Let's do it.
We are disagreeing. Let me codify my thoughts. Okay,
It's
so first
very
of all,
funny. We cannot agree that we are disagreeing on. That's hilarious.
how very Farcaster of us. Okay, so first of all, Farcaster does not have to worry about a 12-month strategy. They never have. They are looking at the long game. Dan has always been very, very clear about that. And I think that is the right way to build it.
Yes.
Second of all, this whole idea that like people came for the money and then like stayed for the friends or something like that. First of all, at least 50% of the time, I think it's bullshit. I think they're still here for the money. I think they think there's more alpha. And then like when people leave, like there's still like coins dropping. And like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I smell bullshit when most people say, I came for the money and I stayed for the tech, or I stayed for the people. It's like, yeah, but all you post about is coins. I see it in my feed. Like I can go look at your shit. Like you're still just posting tickers. Like yeah. You're organizing 0 IRL events. You host no channels except ones that are related to coins, right? It's like, and that's fine. I don't think that's a bad thing, but I do think it's disingenuous. And it's totally to be expected. People who come for the money are here for money. And that's the way that it is. But I don't think you can build a social network on the back of money. You can build casinos. You can build fiat ramps. But I think there's something much more powerful than money that goes into a social network in terms of the idea of why you're somewhere, right? This rough idea, like, sure, everyone has a price to do something. You can always pay people to do things, but it does not. And it does two things. I was talking with Android 16 about this. The first thing that it does is, I think at least, it attracts the wrong type of people. It attracts the wrong type of people, not because they're like bad people, but because you're a certain type of person when you come to the network. And if you come to the network to make money and you become known for making money or for losing money or whatever it is, then sort of the whole narrative revolves around that, and it crowds out everything else that's very important to a social network. Small groups, cozy corners, whatever you want to call it, right? If it's all just about making money, you'll reach a Schelling point where no one wants to talk about anything else. Why would anyone, if let's say we get 100,000 users who are here to make money, no one is going to come to talk about anything else. That's what it will become. And I think that's a dead end, because when the money disappears, then all those people disappear as well. And the money eventually disappears, because it's only money to be made when it's like high alpha, high status. As it becomes mid and it comes down back to average, which networks always do, you can't play that game anymore. So then it just disperses. This is the boom bust cycle of 99% of shitcoins too, right? It's the same idea. Try to be in early. As soon as it's in, you want to get out. The other thing that's really important, though, that it does is obfuscates your OODA loops. Because when people are here to make money, you actually have no idea if you're making a good product, right? If you worry about making money
Yeah.
during the bull run and you think you're getting users and you think your product is getting better, and then everyone leaves when the market falls off from underneath, you have no idea if you did anything good or not, because the whole thing was just based around making money anyways. So when you have a narrative that's like, okay, we're here to make money, and you're not in control of that,
Yeah.
which you're not, right? No one is ever in control of that, right? Those are market forces, unless you're developing some sort of
I
like
agree.
platform to actually generate revenue as a job, as a business. But that's clearly not what we're talking about here, right? Then you're going to not know. You're specifically going to obfuscate whether or not you're making a good product or not to someone, because people are here for something else. I'll pause.
So let me repeat what you're saying so that we're on the same page. What you're saying is, and I mostly agree with, is it's misdirection that is bringing the wrong audience, and they're going to leave as soon as the money making part is gone, or because that's not sustainable.
Correct. Yeah. And we've seen that everywhere
So
for all
what
of time.
I'm thinking is, so here is the counter argument. I don't think making money is a product market fit. I don't think it as more like the core product. I see it as a product feature that basically you need to market around. And there are other features that also needs to be marketed around. But right now, if the pop culture in general is focused on making money, which is meme coins for now, then it is extremely important to tap into it to figure out how to get to the next level. Yes, of course, like without tapping into that, the growth we're gonna get is, let's say, 5% as an example. Okay, making shit up. With that, we're gonna grow, let's say 100%, and then when I go back to like 20% of the original, which is still 10% more than the previous, because it starts like some adoption cycle, and that's the hope. People come, people stay, and there is another hook, and hopefully because of those consumers we attracted some creators. That's when they will stick around for other hobbies. So that's why I don't think this is a core product. I think this is a feature, and all features needs to be marketed depending on whatever the market situation is. That's direction what I'm going.
It's okay. We're getting to some very interesting things here, because this is what I was harping on with horse facts. It's like, I don't think making money or an economy is a bad thing. I think it's really important. I think when I had like the build your own community, like part of it is you can monetize it. It's really important to have people care about this at all.
Mhm.
Obviously, there needs to be money involved. The problem is when it's the narrative. The problem is when the problem you're solving is you don't have enough money, or you don't have enough alpha, is really what you're talking about when you say make money, right? When you say make money in crypto, it means that most people, how do I put this? Okay. When you say you're making money in crypto, and what I think most people hear when they hear you can come to Farcaster to make money, the subtext of that is it's alpha. You are going to be earlier than other people. And in a PvP trading world, that means you will dump on someone else, right? But because of the way that's how you're going to make money. It's PvP.
Sure.
We're making money. Now, sure, there's a couple of things like Clanker and stuff like that. The vast majority of people that are attracted to this narrative are here to dump on someone else. And you get a very aggro culture from that, which is really antithetical to what an early stage social network needs, right? This is exactly why when Zuck started, he sectioned it off by schools, so that when you came on, it was a very positive experience from day one. All your friends were there. You knew everyone. You were hooked right away. You're using it constantly.
Mhm.
The moment people start getting dumped on because they come to Farcaster and there's a more alpha, like, it disappears. All of the value disappears. And not only does the value disappear, you have burned people because you told them they were going to come to make money and they lost money, right? Those people, if they stay, they'll be bitter. Most of them leave. And that's why it's really important to differentiate, which I think you are doing this here, which is good, is like making money as a feature is fantastic. Making money as a narrative is terrible, because narrative is what guides the expectations when people show up to a new product, right? Like, what should I expect when I come here? And if you set the expectation that you're going to make money, you're
So
going
you'll
to.
be fine if it was like make friends, make money. But if I say make money, make friends, that's what you disagree with. That's what it sounds like.
That's a pretty good way to put it. It's definitely not as nuanced as as I
Okay,
like,
fair.
but I would let's say this. I wouldn't have the visceral reaction that I'm having from this narrative conversation, Dan included, if it was make friends and make money. But when you tell
Interesting.
people, come here, you can make money, like that attracts a certain type of person with a certain type of thing in their head. And I think it's very bad for a social network to
So
attract those types of people with those expectations.
okay, you know what? I'm okaying with that in with this caveats, right? Like again, agreement disagreements are different problems. Like I'm okay with the statements you're making. Let's just go with that for now, because I have tried the statements that you have tried on some major brands like Perks. Have worked with those major brands in the past, and believe me, I've spent 6 months trying to get those brands on Warpcast, and whatever they said was missing, we started building them under Perks, and it did not yield any results. And it was the exact same pitch: you own your users. I even threatened them roughly 9 months ago saying, what if TikTok gets banned? What would you do? And their answer was, we'll see when it happens. Like, I'm not even lying, this is their answer was. And right now I reached out to them asking for that. Unfortunately, that person has left the job, so this is like not my problem anymore. That's the friendliest response I could got in that case. But point I'm trying to make is that they will go where their audience is. They don't want
Yes.
to recreate the audience. So instead of moving gems to Farcaster, it's about breeding gems inside Farcaster.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can basically breed those gems and say, hey, I am exclusively on Farcaster, then they will be able to create, like, attract audience from outside, which is another way of saying they are providing some alpha, whether it's financial alpha, whether it's technological alpha, whether it's music alpha, entertainment alpha, something. But that's what Facebook was as well earlier, right? It was the alpha on where your friends are, who they are sleeping with, in a nutshell, right?
It was that, but it was also status. Status was a huge part of early
Yes,
Facebook.
yes, 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 yes. Agreed.
And actually, I was talking to Dan on our podcast, the Rubicon one I do with Hirsch. And he did say he wonders what if he had never opened it up? What if it was still invite only
I
today?
actually love that
I think he
conversation.
should have.
I
Huh?
actually listened to that. Like, I actually
Did
listened
he?
to the whole podcast 3 times. I'm not even joking,
Oh wow,
because there
thank
are
you.
so many things actually Dan said and you guys countered and vice versa. That I'm like, you know what? There are amazing frameworks here that you can use to validate or invalidate ideas, right? Like, again, constant
Yes.
job is for me is to, when an idea comes to me, I have to instantly devise a way to validate or invalidate an idea so I can figure out how much resources to put on each one of them. So I saw a lot of amazing frameworks there. So I literally listened to that multiple times. And I also wonder the same. If the goal is to provide alpha, then the status game makes more sense. Because that status game, and this is one of the things that is not reversible anymore. Theoretically, let's just go with that. Uh, it's very hard to now, just we have to find a new game, and this is a new game that I can go behind and say, you know what, this is going to get at least the users in. And in crypto, making money, if you stay around the cycle, is a long term thing. Like, anyone who sticks around in crypto for more than 4 years makes money, whether they make $10, 10,000, 10 million, different problems. But point is, if you stick around for four years, it's they have, in the historical sense, made money. So, and
Yeah.
with that mindset, if anyone comes into Farcaster, they are, and if they stick around for 4 years, if that problem is solved, they're gonna make money. So that's why I'm more into, like, okay, make money concept works for me. And I'm a little to builder, like, biased towards builders confidence and ability to attract the audience, where if there is an audience, builder will build the craziest shit to engage them, and with the
Right.
frames and everything. So I'm just a little bit of hopium in that sense.
I don't think there's anything wrong with hopium. I love hopium. I'm constantly on cope. I'm constantly on hope.
Same.
I'm with you, brother. But also, like, it's interesting to hear your perspective because you did so much selling to brands, right? And I it was a good idea, but it does strike me as early because we still like if we're still talking about Podcaster PMF, and this is what I was talking with Sam Huber about too. It's like when you go out and sell it, like it's not that you can't do it, like it's not that it's impossible or that it shouldn't be done, but it is way harder to sell your service and convince someone that Farcaster is a good place to be at the same time, right?
Yeah.
You've tried to onboard people. It's hard enough just to get someone on to Farcaster, right?
Yep.
Like, I mean, emotionally, right? Like to get over the hurdle of like another fucking website, like it looks just like Twitter. Like what am I doing here, right?
Yeah.
But I think, well, I don't know. I mean, a lot of this was also just like work from the Merkle team because like the frames moments and stuff, like those big moments are what like rocket shipped, DAO at any given time. I think Dan and them are just searching for more of those. If I had to steel man the argument for like you can make money, it is absolutely your argument, which is who really cares? Just keep getting a bunch of people here. We'll figure it out eventually. As long as a lot of people are joining.
The system will figure out how to keep them engaged if I give them the real users. Forget
if they're good. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, let's assume that out of the 500,000 people that joined to make money, 10 of them are truly great content makers that don't have an audience on X, they don't have an audience on TikTok, and I'll just fucking spray and pray it. That is your case. Your case is my steelman. I still don't totally agree, but it is my steelman for whatever it's worth.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that that's what Dan's steelman is, and that's why I'm supporting that. Otherwise, you're right. Like, and it's personal retrospective as well. So, like until December, like literally last year, I was like visualizing myself sitting on an ivory tower and saying, like, anyone who's just only playing the speculation game, I was looking down on them, and I've learned that won't work. I have to understand why speculation is important and build products that, I'm not saying that fuel speculation, but at least supports them and also provide a real product on the side as well. So that's why we started like looking into Basket. But again, we don't want to go there right now. The point is that I was having the same mindset, and I corrected it literally a month ago, personally speaking.
I don't know. I think maybe this is a good pivot to Basket. We don't. I'm
not here to push the agenda, but I'm happy to answer questions. And ask questions and learn.
I would love. Well, okay. So it was fun to have an argument. You've definitely refined my thinking. I still disagree, but I don't disagree as hard. And I've come around to seeing the other side a little bit, which is it makes me happy. I don't like to be angry. I like to be understanding.
Yeah, like honestly, I love arguments, but being angry is not the place I want to be as well. So I'm with you 100%.
No.
And I know what you mean as well, by the way, bro. Like when you said, like, I'm so many mistakes in my life, and one of them is attracting the wrong customer base and then losing all of it the moment that incentive is gone. And I can give another example if it's okay in that direction. Okay. So we built a movie game as well. Remember last year, which was more like guess the movie game on Forbcast. The genesis of that was simple. We come from the tech background. We don't understand the creator's mindset as much. So we started internally thinking, how can we be ourselves creator, build something in the land so we understand their pain points. So we started thinking about that internally. We came up with different ideas. One person put their foot down saying, guys, we need to build this. Whenever in the team somebody put their foot down, we respect it. And in this case, it was the movie game. So we got the movie game. Initially, it was like 100, 200 people playing the game for the first month on a daily basis. So that was a DAU, which is not bad, but it's like, what's the point? Like 200, who cares? It was getting us roughly 4 to 5 times the previous number of daily signups to perks. So that marketing campaign was also working as a marketing campaign. And we are like, you know what? Let's amplify it. Let's crank up as much as we can. And we thought, what if we can, like, just to understand what is possibility here. So we crank it up to a point where we went to all the Clanker tokens and said, do you want a distribution of those tokens to our players? We have roughly 8,000 players that will, based on the person who plays, depending on the algorithm, will pick 100 winners, and your tokens will be directly going to them. We don't need any cut. And based on that, we came up with marketing cycle and then try to create this 3-sided marketplace we are one of them, one of the side in this case, or the game is one of them. we were able to get the DAU to 16,000, which was crazy. That was the best day. We never saw that day again. And right after that, it dropped to 8,000, of course. But that was our day where we had 16,000 players who played the game, which was the height of it. And just because we were testing, we are like, no more incentives. Let's see how bad it can get.
Yeah.
And like, again, this was, the game was not the core product, so we can do anything with it without getting affected on a company side. So we literally crank it down to almost zero. And with that, the answer came down to be 20% ish above the previous DAUs. And I'm like, if Farcaster can achieve the same growth with finding those ways to crank, and if they can sustain those cranking on a regular basis, it becomes a step function. So that is my belief on why targeting similar audience. So this audience was completely shitty. That's why 16,000 to roughly 200 DAU, right? Like, that was completely bad. But here, crypto Twitter and Warcast has a very similar, like, there is a big, if you draw a Venn diagram, there is something very big in the middle. So if that is the correct part, in that case, the retention hopefully is higher and can create a step function towards growth. So I've learned the lesson on the wrong audience side, but I think this is not a wrong audience. It's just that they would come in for the wrong time and they would come in for the wrong reasons. But hooking or getting and provide them a hook should not be super complicated. That's my current thesis. That's an experiment.
Yeah, no, it's interesting data. It's really helpful to have it. I think I'm glad we're recording this. Hopefully, it's okay if we publish this later.
Public. I think I've made a post about that as well. But yes.
Yeah, so it's awesome. So we'll put it up on the YouTube so other people can watch it later, because that is a very interesting perspective from someone who's actually gone through it. I do think that it's a bit short-sighted, or maybe too narrowly focused. I'd have to find out some way to A/B test this. I don't even know if you can, but like, my gut says this isn't that bad if you're trying to run something inside the Farcaster eco where you're already like, this is an interesting strategy if you're like on top of Farcaster, you're betting that Farcaster is going to keep growing, and you can sort of run these experiments to continue to grow this way. Whereas Farcaster, they need net new now. I think that's what they need to focus on.
That's the biggest problem.
Yeah, they need net new, and then like, I don't know if you get those, like, even 16,000 to 200, definitely a success by many measures. I don't know if you get that once you try to expand beyond crypto Twitter, right? Like, because if Farcast, huh?
I'm with you, 100%. Not possible. You're right.
Yeah, not possible. So yeah, so maybe you keep doing this till it doesn't work, right? Maybe it's just like, this is the easiest way to juice it, and then one day it won't work, and then you'll stop and try something else. But okay, cool. Let's talk basket farm. Before I've got, I don't know, maybe 15 more minutes. If you want to,
absolutely.
Well, that's what the original thing. This was originally before it got antagonistic, divisive, whatever you want to call it. It was supposed to be me helping you with some identity stuff, or at least give you some feedback, go to market, whatever. And we haven't done that at all. So maybe it's a nice way. It's a nice friendly way.
No, let's jump in. So I think the questions, the way it was formed, in a way, I think it perfectly makes sense. Perks, perfectly a marketing company, movie game as an experiment to get more users for Perks so that we can understand and everything. But in December, we had a realization that, look, creators don't want to come to Vodcast, EVM, and no other tooling can support that. So Perks market cap is extremely limited with crypto Twitter, and that even people don't want to pay as much money on. So we need to think something completely different than what we are doing. Perks, until we figure it out, goes in the maintenance mode. We support all the clients. There are some paid users, there are some free users. We support all of them. We don't rug pull in that case going forward. But we need to look at something completely different, because we are, like, at roots, VC-backed company, and we need to make money for us and our investors. Luckily, investors don't push, but we need to, of course, take that responsibility in our own hands. So we started brainstorming, and we come up with some criteria around ourselves. And one of the criteria was, we have to do something on chain. Like, for God's sake, we have been in crypto space for 8 years. We have launched like craziest smart contracts in the past for our clients before Perks. Like, I was running a dev agency at that time, and we built like like something like Tornado Cash. Before Tornado Cash, we just didn't launch because we were worried about going to jail. True story. I'll tell you some other day. Point is, we have the technical abilities, so we should use that to build a complicated piece that is hard to build and then also is useful. So we started looking at different problems, different uh, uh, within the criteria that we can solve and what boundaries that we should be able to push. And a simplest one that we could think about is like, I always thought index funds were cool. I always thought that a basket of assets were cool. It just amplified by 10 million tokens being launched in last 12 months with like all the shit things. Like, how would you really, nobody can do the DD, so you have to trust somebody else to DD. So we're like, okay, let's create an index fund. And one person puts their foot down again and say, I'm not creating an index fund until we find a real multiplier here, because that's an easy problem. I know it's not done in the market, but what is the real hard problem? So two things that are real hard problems, in my opinion, that we need to crack. One is people should be able to create their own baskets on chain, regardless of what their current status is. So completely non-custodial, right? Like, it cannot be a finance company who is the only one creating baskets. Anyone should be able to create a basket if it's used, and let the free market decide whether it's valuable or not. Period. And that's one part of it. And the second one, which we have theoretically solved it, not on the risk adjusted basis, and it is still in the long term research, and it's not going to be V1, but a little bit later. I want all the baskets to be tradable on decentralized exchanges. So there is one part which is you can be deposit and withdraw from a basket from an LP, like basically liquidity pool. And the second complicated piece is, can that basket be tradable on a decentralized exchange? I'm pushing those two things extremely hard.
My brother. I
So
am so
hopefully we can do it.
Dude, this is coming up in my life over and over. And there may be like, I think you have a couple interesting things happen. You have a couple of tailwinds. If you can't tell, I'm so excited.
Tell me.
Okay. The first thing is, I was talking with Sam Huber about like what's interesting about like Clinker and stuff. And the interesting thing to me about Clinker is very much it sort of democratized the hard part. You know, it was hard to build, and what you're talking about. But then, like, for a lot of folks who maybe wouldn't have another way to launch a token, they'd have no idea, they have no coding skills or something, it became very easy. Like, this is the powerful thing about it, right? Make something difficult, easy, democratization. Really powerful, like, sort of framing, right? And then I started talking. We did a little alpha for anyone who watches the stream. We did a podcast with Sriram from Eigenlayer.
When did you do that? Was it part of this?
It's not out yet. It's not out yet. It's not this podcast. It's the Rubicon, the one that we did with Dan.
Okay.
Me and Hirsch. So it's me, Hirsch, and Sriram. It's not out yet, but it is coming out soon, probably next week. And he had this really incredible framing about how like trust and verifiability, that's his whole thing, right? Credible commitments. And like Bitcoin, like was like, you own your Bitcoin and there's only 21 million. That's it. That's the whole promise, right? And then once you have that, you have some sort of value, right? But then you want to know what's the fair value. And that wasn't really able to do it until you had DEX, right? And then you have this DEX and you're like, okay, now we can figure out the fair market value of things. We trust the smart contracts because it's code. So we have value, fair market value. Then I went to lending. The idea with lending is you promising that you're liquid, right? You know for sure I am liquid for these assets, but you cannot build the liquidity unless you know the fair market value, right? And I was thinking about the progression of these things because I've been talking to a bunch of AI agent guys, but I think I went too far. I think I went too far too fast. I think you're actually the right way. I was like, you could have an AI agent.
Give me 3 more ideas. I'm gonna write it down.
Yeah. So I went a little too far with the AI agent, like rebalancing like an ETF, because ETFs like rebalance, right? You need an AI agent to do the rebalancing via a smart contract if you were going to buy a basket of goods that way. But really the more interesting thing is just like, let fucking anyone do it, right? Like just anyone wants to make their ETF, right? And like, and then it's just like, whatever, it's set up, right? I assume this is going to be like hard coded, like either like there's I don't know if you do rebalancing or not. I'd be curious to hear if that's something that you guys are considering. I think
not for V1, but it's planned for later. Again, we have the theoretically proof defined internally. we are of course validating the theoretical proof internally first,
Yeah.
and so far it has checked out. But again, we are 1 week into that validation, and trying to convert that into code. In practice, it's gonna have a lot of other rocks. Let me put it this way: like we're gonna run into a lot of bumps, but if it works theoretically, then it's just figuring out how to adjust those risks and how to
Yeah.
communicate that risk to the people, right?
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. I think believing in freedom, like
It's a
let people
simple
learn, let
problem
people
once
make
you can
mistakes.
find.
Yeah. Let people make mistakes. Let people lose money. Like I think
I don't want to
the
say that
thing.
out loud.
Huh?
Let people lose money is not what I want to say loud. Let's say out loud.
No, I think it's a really strong. I think it's a really strong message. Like will let you. This is not safe. You know what I mean? I think this is part of what is like really exciting about crypto. Like just from a very deeply emotional standpoint, you look at billionaire class
Let
or
people be idiots.
traditional finance. No, no, no. And I'm like they are saying they are the ones that are saying you are idiots by saying you are not smart enough, you are not rich enough, you cannot have venture capital, you cannot have PE, your network's not good enough, so you don't deserve to be in these angel rounds, right? The traditional finance system is set up to say you're too
Yes.
dumb to be rich,
Oh yeah,
so
yeah,
we're
yeah.
not going to let you.
Credit investment is stupid. Like that is a terrible bar.
Right. Exactly. So what is this? This is you might be stupid, you might not be, but you get to do whatever you want, right? This is American freedom, is what this is, right? It's like
Freedom to
this is like Tea Party, not like the fucking whatever people that call themselves the Tea Party. I mean like actual tea, like dump it in the fucking ocean. You want to lose your money, go for it, King. I don't. You believe in yourself, right? Like this is how you mint new stars. This is like I don't know. For me, this is really exciting stuff. And like, listen, I'm not saying just like go take everyone's. Give guidance, give instruction,
Oh yeah,
real
yeah.
instruction, not bullshit like subtext. Like check this box if you agree that like you're a fucking idiot, right? Like no, don't do that, right?
I may do
like
that for like some things, but like I like that checkbox though.
right. Someone suits you, like Your Honor, we have confirmation. They are, in their own words,
Oh
a
my god.
fucking idiot.
I would put that in a like I have a couple of friends who actually go through terms and conditions when they sign that checkbox. Like
Yeah.
they are crazy people, but of course everyone has all kind of friends. And they actually found some weird terms and condition mistakes. They send an email to the company and they blocked them. And I'm like, shit.
But dude, this is exciting. This is real democratization, right? This is like, you think you could be a hedge fund manager? Go for it. See what
Yeah.
happens. That's the next layer for me. The next layer for me is okay. Now that you can create these baskets, what are you charging? Right, 2 and 20 is the standard for that. Because I also had the idea that you could ZKTLS copy trade Binance whales, and then have them compete for the highest P&L. And if you have the highest P&L, then this bot copy trades you, and you get paid 2 and 20 of these. I think
it's going to change a little bit here as well. So you're absolutely right, and I think 2 plus 20 is also a little bit obsolete. I wish I want to charge like I want to charge 2 plus 20 as a greedy person, but I feel terrible about charging 2 plus 20 because I don't think that's the right way to think about it. Because once a decision is made, my money is just sitting there and they are getting money for that. Like I was in like the portfolio managers are still charging me for not doing anything in some cases. I think the money should be charged only on deposit when you put money in and we take the money out. When money is not
interesting.
doing anything, then you should not be charging people money.
Well, so this is one of the really interesting things, right? Because like the 2 and 20 was originally put there because it is so hard to start a hedge fund. You need so many fucking lawyers. You need
So much compliance
SEC
every year.
registration. Yeah, yeah. But if you don't need any of that, then
Yes.
just take the 20 and get how much more money, right? And then like you really think you're better than the market? Again, go prove it.
Exactly.
How
Like
good
all
do
those
you think
crazy
you are?
people who are on Twitter, crypto Twitter, they say, hey, buy this, sell this, and just put NFA next to it and they're calling it like done. Those people will be able to put literally money where their mouth is.
Yeah,
And
because
get
what
paid
does
for it.
Renaissance charge? Renaissance charges 5 and 44, brother. Right?
Really?
Like, yeah, the Medallion Fund. Yeah.
No, I know. I watched that 3 hour podcast on them. I forgot the name of the
Oh,
podcast.
the Acquired.
Yeah,
Is it
yeah, acquired.
Acquired?
Yes, yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I love Acquired.
It
Dude,
was
5 and 44, and still, no one will take their money out because you'll never get it back in. That's how good they are. Because you imagine if they didn't have any regulatory overhead, if they just put that, someone should do it. If anyone's watching and you know the RenTech guys, tell them to just put it on chain, right? Make it a smart contract that's ZKTLS verified to their own trading platform, so you know you're getting the same trades, right? We'll have to figure out some way to like make it obfuscated or something. You could probably do it with just like quarterly returns that they have to file anyways. I digress. You save the 5%. They could probably keep charging 5 and just like make an extra 5%, which is probably a few billion a year or something at this point. But
their returns are so crazy, they justify 5 plus 45, 44.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. Like the numbers are crazy.
But Mike, I guess my other point is there's probably other people out there that are that good, right?
Yeah.
Just like law of numbers, right? But you need so much perfect things to happen for like RenTech to happen. Whereas if you can remove more and more of those barriers, you'll be able to find, I don't know, some kid in India, some kid in China, some kid in fucking Alaska. I don't know where he is. You know what I mean? He's a genius trader, but he has no opportunity to set one of these things up. He has no connections. He's never going to make it to Harvard. His family's poor, whatever, right? The world's better if we all have access to his trades. I'd be happy to give that kid 5 and 44 if he's as good as RenTech.
Exactly, right? Like that again, that's the goal. Hopefully we can just like reduce the number of, like, again, it's a crashing down the barriers, right? Like it's burning down the barriers. That's what it comes down to.
I'm so gassed on this, dude. I gotta get hot. I'm glad we talked about this. I don't know what to expect. We hang out and we have a good conversation. But technically this will get recorded, so it's my job to CTA. What? There's a wait list, right? Basket.farm.
There's a wait list. There's a wait list there. We are going to open up some people on the wait list, hopefully as soon as next week, where we can just like basket creation starts at least. Aping into it is a separate problem. So hopefully that happens soon.
Love it. Okay, so keep an eye on basket.farm. Follow me, obviously. Follow Chinmay at Chinmay on Farcaster, right? And at chinmay.eth, all spelled out. Chinmay, DOTETH on Twitter, correct? Although you seem to be fully Farcaster at this point. Like, we didn't even follow each other on Twitter.
Yeah, we just realized that. But hey, thanks for having me, dude. This was super fun. Again, we can have this many conversations. We don't have to record it, but this is a fun conversation. We should have more of this.
Well, I hope you get some benefit. We didn't really get to dig in. Maybe when there's more product, maybe we can dig into like the go-to-market and like what you're doing.
You actually gave me 3 more ideas. I'm good. Basically, think about if people can land their basket, so they don't have to sell their basket.
Yes, absolutely. Because you never want to sell. Because cap gains are the killer, right? This is what every rich person knows, right? Your HELOCs, your equity line of credits. It's like people don't know. Jay-Z bought his fucking $20 million mansion off a credit line for the entirety of Rockefeller Records, right? He didn't sell Rockefeller Records to buy his home. This is like the interesting things that people don't know about. I actually had a friend, he was like, yo, like, might need a little cash. I was like, just take a loan out your crypto. He's like, what are you talking about? I was like, please just do not fucking sell it, right? Just take the loan and like you can use gains to pay for it later. You can get interest, self-repaying loans. The more that we productize that stuff, and you can even do it in line with like tax regulations for each country. It wouldn't be difficult, but yeah, I digress. This has been awesome. Chinmay, thank you for coming on. Make sure to follow Chinmay if you're out there. Follow me and catch you guys for the next 5 check.
All right. Take care, guys. Bye.
Later.